Hi, Jamie, sitting out in the sun.
Hi.
Arlene, you're not walking.
Oh, no. My belief.
But you're outside where it's probably beautiful. Mike Ballard, welcome, President-elect.
Thank you.
Here he is.
Hey,
Hi.
Les Swain, GLB Insurance.
I see Katie Decker's on, but I don't see her beautiful face.
No, you do not.
Ginger, how are
Is there a
you?
reason for that?
Chase, hi.
The past President Dave Thorson's joined us.
And Captain Kirk, you are amazing.
And I,
Sonia, welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, darling. There's a lot of new people, John. Okay.
Okay, now I have to look, what does Dave Thorson have as his background? Now that you said that, Melanie, what is his background?
That
is the Thunderbird flyby from
There
Saturday.
he is.
Yeah, that was
Beautiful
really
day.
cool.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That looks
Yeah,
awesome.
we could do one of those. Captain, you have to help me with that.
Carrie, we got the same color.
I have this boring same old stuff behind me.
Kind of hard seeing a pyramid behind your head though, Dave. There you go.
That was awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Awesome.
Okay, Shantae's having a problem?
Shantae, are you having a problem?
Technical difficulties with your camera.
Yeah, my camera's kind of acting up.
Okay, Brian Rosenberg, we don't see you either or hear you.
Steve Linder on?
Is.
Yes, he is.
And it looks like he's got his son there with him or somebody's with him. Hello.
That's Janet's son, Matt.
Yeah, this is son Matthew. He lives in Austin, Texas. He flew in on Monday after Janet passed away.
Hi, guys.
Hi there.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, Steve.
Sorry for your loss.
Hello.
Condolences, Steve.
Hi, Barbara. Hi, Val.
Steve, our hearts are with you.
Tony.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Jackie, the
Carrie, are you
tribute to
getting a little
Janet
sunshine?
in the wheel was beautiful. Thank you for doing that.
My pleasure, absolutely.
Thank you, Jackie.
Going to the wheel to tribute.
Rotary won the same without Janet.
Hey, Brian. Ooh, that beard is getting longer. Looking good. Look at that.
Hey,
Mature.
Captain, can you mute everyone for me, please? We're ready to get started.
This is Jackie's.
I can't hear anymore if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, and I can't see anymore if you can hear.
Captain, make sure everyone is muted, please. Not everyone is muted. Ready to get started. Let's everyone first have a moment of silence for the loss of our beautiful, beautiful Janet, please. Welcome to the fabulous Las Vegas Rotary Club. Rotary International President Mark Daniel Maloney's theme for this year asks us Rotarians to strengthen the many ways that Rotary connects the world, building connections that allow talented, thoughtful, and generous people to unite and take meaningful action through Rotary service. Our club demonstrates every day how we are living President Maloney's mission with our local and international service projects through unity, connections, and actions. My name is Jacqueline Thornhill, and I am honored to serve as the 97th president of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. Thank you for participating in our Facebook live stream or Zoom. On this day in TV history in 1962, Walter Cronkite began anchoring the CBS Evening News. In music history in 1974, Queen held its first US concert at Regis College in Denver, Colorado. And in US president history in 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation that abolished slavery. Quote of the day comes from sales guru Dale Carnegie. Remember, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Our invocation today will be led by Chase Carter. Would you open up his mic, Captain?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you, President Jackie. So instead of an invocation, I'm gonna read some paraphrased passages from Philippians 4, which my mother always liked to read to our family during times of adversity. So, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. I know what it is in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I am intent in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Chase. That was beautiful. Our song, It Was a Military Weekend, with a Thunderbird flyover, and I thought it would be appropriate that we would play this.
I think I can help you out. I brought a few people with me today. Thank you, Maestro. Over to you. Mind if I bring in some merriment? And then just one last word as they're coming in. Air power.
Everyone, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's our current calendar. Okay, our Sergeant at Arms today is Captain Kirk Holmes. He'll be muting and unmuting as I call on you. Our scribe today is Jana Velasco. All things technical, Captain Kirk and Stu Lipoff, who are responsible for this meeting and for the slide deck that you just saw. So thank you to both of them. Facebook and Instagram, Aaron Overton. Remember, the People of Action campaign is still ongoing. So if you see some extraordinary things happening out there, especially as it relates to the crisis we're going through, send me the pictures so I can fill up our wheel. Reminder that your monthly or quarterly contributions to our Las Vegas Rotary Foundation is what helps fund our projects. Please consider donating to the permanent fund. As a reminder, Lowry's will be closed at least until 4:30 at this point. We don't know beyond that, but they have curbside pickup. And if you have any Lowry's bucks, they've extended any expiration on those. So especially if you're going to pick up a meal later today, use your Lowry bucks. The virtual green book, we've got about 3 events now that are coming up that are going to require boots on the ground. So we'll be putting those together. Remember, the district movie night is this Saturday night. You should have received an email to sign up with a special link for you, and then you'll receive a reminder prior. There's going to be some fun and games through the district, as well as the movie. Our first project, Flatten the Curve with the Salvation Army, a donation of $1,000 from us, the Rotary Club, $1,000 from Kiwanis, the Strip Club, and the Las Vegas West Club donated $100 for a total of $2,100 to be sent to the Salvation Army so that they can purchase needed supplies to serve their clients. We have a first responder project going on now that was initiated by the district, and we're going to need Rotarian boot on the ground at that point. What we did was kind of step out, as Las Vegas Rotary Club has a tendency to do. We stepped out a little bit on our own. Past President Karen Wisenhunt emailed me the other day, and she was able to source the N95 masks that are desperately needed, and due to an incredible directed donation from our beautiful Joan Murdoch of $1,000. We were able to purchase 200 of those masks. So I've been in contact with Sheriff Joseph Lombardo, and he told us exactly what Metro needs, and they specifically need the N95 masks. So we were able to order 200. They should be here in the next day or so. And he was thrilled to know that we're going to donate all of those to Metro. And so we'll be coordinating a distribution with Metro PD over at the Salvation Army. The masks have arrived, everyone who has not seen them. They're beautiful, they're wonderful, they're all red and blue. They all have at least the logo or our names on them. So I'll be distributing those today in the north parking lot over at Lowry's from 3:30 to 6. Please come and pick them up, or arrange to have someone to pick them up for you, because we have 3 projects with boots on the ground and we're going to need to be masked. So what a better way than to also let them know how wonderful our club is, and Rotary International, as well as the district. Either have somebody pick them up, send an Uber or a Lyft driver, because it's possible to give them a little bit of work if you can't get out. Come on over, get some sunshine, some warm, have some fellowship with Rotarians that are not on a computer screen, if you feel like it. If you don't feel comfortable, that's your choice. And if you would like me to reserve one for you before I distribute them tomorrow morning to the charities, please let me know by email and I'll save one, and you and I can arrange later on to have to pick it up. So once again, if you want to have any meal delivery, when you want to pick up something from Lowry's, you need to order that in advance because they won't take any orders there at the restaurant and they won't allow anyone in the building. And I went there and got my Easter meal this past Sunday, and they're very, very efficient and getting through the lines. Okay, virtual craft talk. I still have room for those. It helps meet our vocational standards that we need for RI. So if you have anyone that would like to promote their business, I need a name, I need your profile picture, I need a logo for your business, and maximum 250 word description, and I'll feature that in the upcoming wheels. Okay, Captain, if you would turn the microphone over to Tony Kern for an induction of one of our new members.
Fellow Rotarians, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Las Vegas, it is my privilege to induct a new member today. It's my very first induction and the very first virtual induction for the club. Please allow me to introduce to you Jasmine Prue. Jasmine, you are beginning a great adventure in leadership, in friendship, in service to your community and your fellow men and women. You have been invited to membership, and the Rotary Club of Las Vegas has accepted you as a person of good character, high ethical standards, and a person who has the heart for service. You have been invited to join Rotary, but it will be through your own actions that you become a Rotarian. You will be provided many opportunities through our Rotary Club and district to enhance and expand your professional and personal skills, and these opportunities can provide great value to you. You will be provided with many opportunities to provide service to others through club service, vocational service, community, and international service. We welcome your strong arm and strong heart for service in joining the club to engage in Rotary International's current theme, Rotary Connects the World. When we join Rotary, we become part of something much bigger than ourselves. At a later time, because of the circumstances, you will be provided with a Rotary pin by which your fellow Rotarians and the community at large will recognize you as a Rotarian, and we ask that you wear that pin proudly. With that, Jasmine, it is my pleasure and honor to declare you duly inducted into the Rotary Club of Las Vegas, the best Rotary Club in the world. And if maybe we can be unmuted for a moment so we can clap and welcome our newest member to the family of Rotary. Welcome.
Welcome.
Jasmine.
Hey.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Say a
Congratulations.
word or two. Would you like to say a few words? Are we muted, Captain, or unmuted? Okay, well,
Hold on, I'm going to unmute her so she can say a few words.
Okay, I didn't prepare anything, but I'm really excited to finally have taken the step to join the Las Vegas Rotary Club. I've been thinking about it for quite some time, and I think that this is a really good time for me to get involved, be able to network within the community, and then reach out in ways that I wasn't able to before, because I do enjoy volunteering in the community and being a part of, something bigger than myself. So that's, it's a great honor to be a part of the club.
Awesome, welcome.
Thank you.
back. Thank
All
you.
right, back to you, Jackie.
All right, thank you, Captain. For the quick announcements, because we do need to get to our speaker as soon as possible. So if we can get short and to the point, I'd appreciate it. Please open up Carrie Serrano's mic about our upcoming USO project.
All right, Carrie, you are unmuted.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. I have some exciting news. You're all aware of the wonderful DIY Kids Kit effort that we're all involved in. And we're going to do our first distribution of 500 of those to Creech Air Force Base military families on Friday, April 24th. It will be from 1 to 3 p.m. at the YMCA parking lot at Centennial Hills. We're able to have up to 6 volunteers from the Rotary Club in attendance. The Creech leadership are putting a limit on the number of people that they want on the parking lot or in the parking lot, which is totally understandable. And this will be the first of several opportunities. But again, we can take up to 6 volunteers for this specific effort. And we are going to be sending out a virtual green book for sign up. So there will be more details in there. Everybody will have masks and gloves on. Essentially, we'll have stations in the parking lot. And that will allow our military families to drive up to a station, pick up their kids kit. And then in addition, it looks like we may have some other stations that may have food-related items as well. For instance, we have a bakery in town called Flowers Bakery. It's in Henderson. And we've reached out to them, and they're now donating product to us, not only in Nevada, but it looks like in California as well. So they're going to provide us with about 1,700 snowballs. If you all remember what those are, the I think pink cakes with the coconut on them. So we're going to be able to pass those out. We may have some other donations as well. And in addition, we're working with a third-party vendor, a restaurant chain who's expressed an interest in possibly also donating some food. So more to come on that. Again, we'll get the virtual green book for sign up set up. We do understand that the Creech Public Affairs Department will be there. They will be providing some coverage, which means that they will then post information on their Creech website, which will be really super fun to be able to have some exposure there. And obviously it's exposure that they've approved, meaning they are the ones that we want to take the pictures, right? So that we make sure that we're not sharing pictures that shouldn't be shown.
All right, Carrie, thank you very much.
And in addition, it looks like we could have some media coverage. So again, those Rotary masks would be awesome.
Thank you, Carrie. We're all looking forward to it. And we're going to go ahead and move to our speaker because she's on a time limit. So if you would open up Rosalie Hedrick's mic, please, to introduce our speaker.
I'm not, Rosalie, I'm trying to find you and I can't seem to find you. So I believe I'm just going to unmute Megan. Megan, you are unmuted.
Great. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yay. All right. Sorry, I'm not so great with technology. Rosalie wanted me to kind of share with you guys a little bit about the Paycheck Protection Program, which is, I'm sure, in everybody's news outlets right now. And kind of, if any of you have questions, obviously, please shoot them out to me. I'll make sure that I address those. So the Paycheck Protection Program was a $349 billion fund provided to small businesses to really secure payroll for their employees primarily. It allows business owners the ability to use their W-2 wage calculation if you are a business that employs W-2 wage employees, a multiple of that based on when you started business, to be able to keep those employees paid during a covered period, as well as allow you to use the funds for additional eligible items such as utilities, lease rent payments for the business, and then interest on any mortgage payments if you do have a building. So all of those items would be eligible for forgiveness. The way that the loan was calculated is based on average monthly payroll for those W-2 waged employees. Depending on when you started business, it would have been a 2-month average based on January and February of 2020. If you started after January 1st, 2020, or a preceding calendar year average of a 12-month average based on 2019 W-2 waged salary employees. Now, independent contractors and sole proprietors were also eligible for the program. Their calculation was slightly different, and the criteria that the bank is requesting is also different for those requests. It would give you a 2.5 multiple on that average amount, and then that would be the loan amount that would be established, which you could use for those qualified business expenses. There was a cap, meaning 75% of the loan that you would have received would be required to be used towards payroll if you wanted it for eligible debt forgiveness. And then 25% of those funds could be used for those other eligible items that I had mentioned before. They did run out of money as of this morning. Depending on who you talk to, it was maybe sometime early morning today or maybe 7 in the morning. I don't know the specific time that the $349 billion was used up, but there is no more money in the fund as of right now. And so a lot of banks are going through the process of determining who obtained an SBA approval number and which clients did not, communicating that out. We are expecting an additional funding round. Hopefully, Congress is supposed to meet today about it, although they've been arguing, it appears, over what they're going to include in that additional funding round. I suspect that we'll probably get more news on that today, and then also in the days leading, as it pertains to how much will go back into the Paycheck Protection Program for that second round, so that people can obviously take advantage of being eligible and receiving funds for this program. So with that being said, I mean, do you want me to just take questions at this point? Because I feel like that's probably more beneficial. Everyone has a different story or a unique situation that maybe they'd want to discuss.
Megan, I know last week when we had the representative from the chamber here, he had lots of questions. You did kind of briefly mention the self-employment or the independent contractors. Could you expand on that a little bit? Because we had a lot of questions that he wasn't able to answer at the time.
Yes, so there was an updated frequently asked questions that came out from the Treasury and the SBA as it pertains to independent contractors and sole proprietorships. The items that they were requesting lenders to obtain was a 2019 Schedule C, either filed or unfiled. We would be using line 31 on that document, which is the net income line, to determine the average monthly income for that particular sole proprietorship, and then multiply that by 2.5. So that's kind of how the sole proprietorship requirement was and how they determined the loan amount. Now, if you were an independent contractor where you received 1099s throughout 2019 for your business, maybe you were a LLC or an entity, but you truly were an independent contractor, that's how you made your money, you would be able to supply the bank with a copy of all of your 1099s that you received for your business, and they would use the 1099 with a cap of 100,000 for independent contractors, divided by 12 and then multiplied by 2.5. And that's how they were coming up with the number. There's been a lot of difficult situations or unique situations for some independent contractors. So if, let's say you became an independent contractor after January 1st, 2020, you would not have a 1099, starting for the new year. And so there was really no guidance from the SBA on how you would handle a situation like that for an independent contractor that may have been new starting this year, because they should be eligible if they were in business before February 15th, 2020, but they wouldn't have a 1099. And so, we would be going to the local office on guidance. We've been told that we would be able to accept some type of profit and loss with bank statement records for the 2 months to try to come up with the average so that we could provide them with some funds. Same with sole proprietors. It's been a little bit more difficult for them if they haven't filed 2019 taxes, because the SBA rule specifically requires the 1040 Schedule C on the 2019 taxes. It could be filed or not filed, but that was a required document to have. If it was not filed, they also requested the sole proprietor to provide their backup, which would include either a profit and loss or bank statement records or any other documentation that they have relative to their what they've reported or plan to report on their 2019 tax return.
Okay, thank you. I know there's several questions. I think I'll turn it over to Kirk.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
So Madam President has a question. How fast were the loans, or are the loans being funded? Maybe you could talk a little bit about the process.
Okay, so, every bank has a different process, and I will tell you the government really didn't give any financial institution any time to put together a good process to be able to handle the load of obviously every small business owner in the country and in every state wanting access to these funds, which they should have access to. The government also didn't anticipate the problems that banks would have putting together an automated or even a system that could handle capacity, which basically requires the lender to violate every regulatory and compliance rule that we have when we're doing any underwriting for a loan. Because banks are supposed to underwrite loans and manage risk in order to give out money. Well, this program has asked lenders to not underwrite the loan, just confirm receipt of required documents and then issue out funds. And they thought it would be very simple, but no bank has a system to do that because banks don't normally give out money without managing risk. I don't actually know any bank that would give out money without understanding the risk that they would be, taking on if they were to give an individual funds. So all banks have or have put together an automated system for the most part. I know Zion's, I can speak specifically to our system. So we have a online platform. You would go in, create your sign-on. You would be prompted to answer all of the required questions as it pertains to the SBA application and the information that the bank would need. The SBA did require that banks, as part of their lender obligation, ensure that we were following Know Your Customer, USA Patriot Act, Anti-Money Laundering, and Bank Secrecy Act requirements. So that's why a lot of banks opted to only assist their customers, their existing customers, because we know that those areas were already vetted when they opened up an account. That was also why a lot of banks did require an account to be opened, because it satisfied those lender requirements. Once you put your information in online through at least Nevada State Bank, we would then review the information for accuracy. You would have the ability to upload your required documentation as it pertains to how you arrived at your monthly loan amount or your monthly average payroll calculation and your loan amount. That was extremely important. And the reason is because the borrower is held liable for everything on this loan for the most part. You're held liable to determine your own eligibility as a business. You're held liable to determine your own average monthly payroll and your loan amount and your number of employees. So the responsibility was really put on the borrower when you signed and certified your documentation and your application. So from that point, it would then go into a queue where we would just ensure that we did confirm and receive every document that we needed per our lender obligation requirement in this, which was really just confirm receipt of payroll records, either from a payroll processing company. Make sure that you do a reasonableness test. So look at the loan amount, the average monthly payroll, make sure that that makes sense and that's in line with the IRS 941 or 940 or W-3 that you may have received. If you had a payroll processing company, it was a little bit easier because they were starting to put together for their clients their payroll information in the format that was needed for the loan, especially because those businesses that use a payroll processing company would not have the IRS wage reporting documents because the payroll company would do that for them. So if you had all of your documentation correct, it would then go into the queue that would be ready for a system called E-Tran. E-Tran is the system that 4,400, I think, banks, which are all of the institutions, including non-lending institutions that were approved to do this program, were using. So E-Tran is the system that SBA uses to give lenders the SBA loan number. That's your approval. Once you get the loan number, the funds are earmarked for you, and you are approved to receive the funds under this program. What was happening over the last few days as more lenders have come online for the program, if every single lender with thousands of files is submitting through the same system, it's definitely going to stress that system. And so either you got an SBA approval number or you received an error message as a financial institution. Those were pretty much the two options that you had. Or it would tell you if the customer applied somewhere else and already received a loan number. So once that happens, that's when it then goes through our documentation portal. I would say loan documents are probably, for us at least, on a 2 to 3 day delay. But everything is done through DocuSign. So we are digitally allowing customers to sign all of the documents, trying to make it as easy as possible. And then the funding, I would say, is probably another 2 to 3 day lag behind receiving the loan documents. So if you have an approval, you're probably looking at a full week before you actually see the money, worst case scenario, and sooner, you know, if obviously the queues are not backed up and we're able to accomplish it faster. That's kind of the process.
Okay.
Awesome. We got another question. Did they release the PPP for 501c3s and homeowners associations?
So 501c3s were eligible for this program as long as they employed 500 or less employees. That included churches as well, if they were a 501c3 and they had reported W-2 wages. So those businesses were able, or nonprofits were able to apply. And we did have some, you know, nonprofits that did receive funds as well through the program. Homeowners associations, it would be the same scenario there. They are an eligible NAICS code. And the intent of the program was really not to eliminate any one person from being able to apply. We even had some businesses that would normally be determined ineligible. For example, casinos and large, bigger, you know, gaming companies that still employed less than 500 individuals. They consulted with their, you know, advisory board or legal counsel and felt that they were eligible, even though, you know, the area around that has been very vague per SBA. And because the borrower has to determine eligibility, themselves. If a client that we felt normally would not be eligible for SBA financing, but they read all of the same documentation that we did and they felt that they were eligible, we allowed them to continue to apply through the process.
Okay. Still can't hear you, Captain.
Thanks. Dog keeps on barking. So do you know how many businesses in Nevada got money and possibly how many in Clark County? It'd be interesting to see if there's any what the geographical disbursement was.
Yeah. Well, so Nevada Bankers Association is actually collecting all of those numbers this morning and today from every lender in Nevada that participated in the program, because they are going to be releasing some information as it pertains to how many Nevada businesses received funds through the Paycheck Protection Program. I can tell you for Nevada State Bank only, it appears, and our numbers are we're still trying to finalize those, but to just kind of give you high level, we had approximately 2,268 applications come through. We were able to get 1,525 of those approved with an SBA number here in Nevada. And so, you know, we're hopeful that we're going to be one of the top banks in the state that have been able to secure funds for Nevada businesses.
Awesome. Do you anticipate, this is regarding the EIDL loan, originally there was one of our members got a notice that the loan was capped at $15K. Do you feel that this might be just for now, or do you anticipate it being expanded?
Sorry, what was capped at 15,000?
An EIDL loan, the EIDL loan.
Okay. Well, the economic injury disaster loan, I don't know a ton about what's happening with that. It appears that it's been evolving over the last few weeks. I mean, like everything. And so one thing that I do know is that a lot of businesses that have applied for the economic injury disaster loan and have gone through the grueling process of applying through their online system in the very beginning when Nevada was eligible to apply, which started March 17th or 18th, I think, is when Governor Sisolak was able to get us on as an approved state to receive funds. I don't know of anyone that's actually received any money through the economic injury disaster loan. I know that some businesses have received notification from the SBA as it pertains to their application, telling them that they're approved up to a certain amount and to select, you know, what potential amount they would be interested in. So they're basically saying you're approved up to $500,000 for your applicant business. You know, at what loan amount would you desire? And then they don't hear much after that. So I don't know exactly what the SBA is doing specifically to work through their process to get back with these customers so that they can get the funds for their economic injury disaster loan. They also talked about a grant, which was supposed to be for $10,000. So if you applied, you would select, yes, I'm interested in receiving a $10,000 advance. Now, that grant would be forgiven regardless if you were approved or denied, and that you would be receiving that $10,000 grant within 72 hours after applying. That's what it originally stated in the act. I don't believe that that's happened. I haven't heard of any customers that actually applied and said they wanted the grant, that they've received it. I do know that some clients have received notification from the SBA that specifically says you can receive up to $1,000 per employee now in the grant. And they're making that determination, apparently based on how many number of employees you've listed on your application. But again, I still do not know anyone that's actually received any advance or funds into their account. I'm not sure when they plan on doing that. I do know that the personal stimulus through the IRS that they were doing for particular consumers, where they were receiving either $1,200 if they were single or $2,400, that money did go out sometime this week. So if people did receive the personal stimulus, when it comes down to the economic injury disaster loan, what they're doing there, I really couldn't tell you. And it doesn't appear that our SBA local office understands what is happening with those either. So that is somewhat of a mystery right now.
All righty. Let's see here. Question, would it be advantageous for businesses to apply at 2 or 3 banks or with 2 or 3 lenders, as people don't know their status in terms of pending applications?
That's been a very difficult one to answer. And the reason is because the interim final ruling, which is what the SBA has issued out for everyone as it pertains to the Paycheck Protection Program, has specifically said in there that you are not allowed to apply at multiple lending institutions, that you are only supposed to be applying at one institution. And if us as a bank know that you've applied somewhere else, we are definitely telling you, and I believe every other lender is doing the same, that you should stay with whoever you initially applied with. Obviously, I don't think customers were following that rule, and the reason is because of the lack of communication that they probably heard, or haven't heard anything from their bank. So they get nervous and they don't know what is happening, and so they want to start the process with maybe another institution where they've heard that they appear to be moving along a little bit faster. And I mean, I would say that there's no way of a bank knowing if you've applied somewhere else unless you tell them. It could potentially mess up your SBA approval, because if you do apply somewhere else, for example, we had a few denials from clients because they were stated that they applied somewhere else, that they already got an SBA approval number. But then that particular customer had no clue what institution they started with actually got the approval then, because they had no communication or email notification that they were approved at any lender. And so that's a very frustrating process to be in from a customer's perspective, because if you believe that you're approved, but you've applied at multiple places, I mean, you'd be at the mercy of just hoping that that bank get in touch with you and let you know.
Awesome. Yeah, that kind of covers all the questions we had. Jackie, back to you.
Megan, thank you very much. You're obviously a wealth of information on this subject, as Rosalie said you would be. I hope you've answered most everyone's questions. And this is a process, of course, we're not all used to, and neither the banks having to push loans through as quickly as you're being asked to or expected to by the borrowers. And I know there's a lot of fine print and everything. So thank you very much for all the efforts that Nevada State Bank is doing to help our small businesses get through this crisis. And thank you very much for joining us today. You've been very, very most informative.
Thank you. And if there are any other questions or someone has a specific scenario, you could definitely reach out to Rosalie or myself. We are more than happy to answer those questions. I think that's probably the most frustrating part about the whole thing, is just not knowing who to go to for answers, or just to understand a little bit about the process. And I want to try to help as many people as I possibly can. I know that that's everyone on the team at Nevada State Bank has that same philosophy, and we have been working an enormous amount of hours trying to make sure that we help as many people as we can. So please, if there is any additional questions or items that you want to talk about, feel free to reach out. You're not bothering anyone. We want to try to help.
All right, thank you so much for that, Megan. I know you have to rush off to another meeting. So again, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Captain, would you we'll finish our announcements. Would you turn the microphone over to Melanie Modowney, please, about our foundation match?
1 second, please. Melanie, you are unmuted.
All right. Hello, everybody. You might be wondering, but we still are doing the match with our points. That hasn't changed with the current situation. So if anybody still wants to try to get to their next level of the Paul Harris, then we can make that happen. So just reach out to me and let me know.
Thanks, Melanie.
Please turn the microphone over to past President Karen Wisenhunt about the family of Rotary.
Karen, you're unmuted.
Hi, everybody. Most of you know that the family of Rotary, their signature project is when you're traveling, collecting things like shampoos and cream rinses, soap, toothpaste, anything that's personal hygiene items. If you have any of that stuff at your home today, bring them over to Lowry's when you pick up your mask. I have 4 bags of stuff right now that I'm giving to Jackie, and she will deliver that to Veterans Village. They can really use it. We've got some great stuff that we've accumulated over the last 3 months. So if you have more, then please bring it today, this afternoon, and it'll get distributed tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Would you please hand over the mic to Bill Houghton about our rescheduled RILA?
Bill, you're unmuted.
Hey, thanks, Captain Kirk. I love watching you in Command Central there, my friend. Let's see. The RILA committee was able to confirm new dates for the venue and transportation. The RILA right now is scheduled to take place the 30th of October through November 1st, still down at Camp Cedar Crest. And I'll send notification out to all of the students. I heard back from many of them with the delay, and most everybody across the board still wants to be involved with RILA. So we'll reconnect all of those dots and see how many of the 15 kids that we had selected are still ready to go to RILA on October 30th. So thank you.
All right, and just to tag on to that, yes, that means there will be 2 RILAs in the next Rotary year. There'll still be one in the fall, in the spring, just as always. They want to keep up with that schedule. So 2 RILAs next year, one for this group this year that missed, and then for the upcoming group. So we get an opportunity to continue to influence the lives of the kids. Okay, that's it for announcements. All right. Remember, there is a board meeting starting at 1:30. Those of you who are on the board, please, you should have your links from Sean. And get ready for everything there. So we've got a little bit to cover there. So with that said, always find opportunities to make someone smile and to offer random acts of kindness in everyday life, which is just a part of our DNA as Rotarians. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, friends.
See you all later at mask time.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody,
Bye.
have a good
And
week.
bye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Be well, Steve.
Bye-bye. Be well. Take care, Steve.
See ya. Bye, everybody.
Brittany sends her best to you.
Thanks, Emil.
Goodbye, Steve.
Bye. Thanks.